Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of my life. Our lives. Our lives. See that beautiful, sexy woman back there? Ooh. Hey, stop looking at her like that. Only I can look at her like that, if she lets me. Okay, what am I going to talk about today? I want to talk about two things if I have enough time. Numero uno is the garden. I've been doing some more work in there. Got the lettuce transplanted, the stevia transplanted, and the cucumbers transplanted. I need to get the tomatoes out, but I can't find the instructions to the topsy-turvy. We have two topsy-turvies, so I need to find the instructions. I could probably find it online somewhere. I'm going to get those out today if possible. It's only 5:30, so anyway, been doing that. Yesterday we went for a nice long walk. There's this road. I don't even know what it's called. It doesn't have a name on it. It doesn't have a street sign. But we've been down there a few times. Yesterday we took a nice long walk, and I even climbed up the hill some. Found some what looked like plastic tarps. Maybe 30, 40 yards. Yeah, maybe 30, 40 yards off the street itself. But you have to go up a hill. It looks like there's an old road there, but you can't really tell. I mean, you can only see so much. I mean, it may be a road that's 200 years old, and that's all that remains of it. But who knows? But back up in there, I found some couple of tarps and some stuff. I'd like to get a decent shovel, not a garden shovel, not something that large and heavy, but maybe an entrenching tool or something, and take up there and see what's underneath there. It's all dried and brittle. Anyway, so the other thing I want to talk about, because I've been thinking about this, I don't know if there's a video. I think there's a video concerning this issue. If there is, I have not seen it. But I've been thinking about it, and I remembered an incident in my life from many, many years ago. As you know, I'm 99 years old. Turned 99 in late February. Before that, I was 98, obviously. And my doctor says by the time I'm 120, I'll be like a 30-year-old, maybe a 40-year-old. Depends on how well I take care of myself. Anyway, so there's an activist, a friend of ours, named Derrick, and there was an incident. I believe he confronted a elderly employee of the state. But like I say, number one, I don't know if there's a video. I only think there's one. Number two, since I haven't seen anything, since all I've heard are complaints, I can't make a real judgment. And I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done. I'm going to relate an incident to you from my youth. And I'm waiting for a phone call, so if I stop abruptly. I was in a place called the Devereaux Foundation for roughly 3.5 years. Three and a half years. Late 78 is when I went in. I got out in the summer of 82. It was hell on earth. It was bad. Anyway, I was in two different dorms while I was there. And the one dorm I was in the longest, Barclay Hall, we had a dorm supervisor, we had a dorm secretary, and then of course we had two house parents and regular staff. I'm not going to give the names of these people, but the dorm secretary said something once, and remember, this was a very long time ago, so I don't remember exactly what she said or did, but she told an outright lie about me. And I confronted her. And she was probably elderly. I think both she and her husband, who also worked there, were both retired, semi-retired, I guess you'd say. He taught sort of a shop/crafts class, basically using a jigsaw to cut out shapes in plywood. And then we would paint the plywood. Oh. I was wondering what that sound was. It was the beautiful woman over here opening a soda. I was like, what? What's that? Anyway, so I confronted her about it, and she couldn't handle the confrontation. So I didn't threaten her or anything like that. I just, like, hey, what are you doing this for? What are you lying for? So she got her husband to come after me, and I'm like, look, if you cannot handle the job, then don't do it. If you're not going to be honest, then don't do it. I mean, just go find something else to do. But I assume what Derrick did was probably similar insofar as he was, because we know him well enough. I mean, we would like to think we know him well enough to know that he's not going to just go up to somebody and spout nonsense. The guy has a brain. He uses it. And if you knew him, the guy's not going to be a violent guy. And, my opinion of when he got hit with the pepper spray in the eyes when he was just standing there, basically, but he was handcuffed, that assault, the assault on him by putting the handcuffs on him, number one, that gave him the right to defend himself. When he was pepper sprayed, that gave him a second right to defend himself, or a second reason to defend himself. But anyway, so it's, if you're elderly and you have dementia, I'm going to give you more leeway. But just because you're elderly, in and of itself, doesn't mean that people don't have the right to call you on your stuff. I'm going to treat a 90-year-old differently than I would treat a 50-year-old, who I would treat differently than a 20-year-old, who I would treat differently than a 5-year-old. Okay, I think we all would do that, but we all treat each other with some respect. But there are people that are disrespectful, and therefore, do you automatically treat the disrespectful people with respect, with the same respect you would treat a person who's treating you respectfully? I don't think so. You might not, and there are different ways of dealing with different people in different situations. So I really can't criticize because I haven't seen the video, but considering that I've called people on their BS before, and the one person I remember specifically about, I mean, anyway, that particular incident, I don't think he's necessarily wrong in confronting the person. I just don't. If that person could not be honest, then that person doesn't need to be in the job. If that person cannot handle being called on her BS, then she doesn't need to be working in that job. Anybody in the state doesn't need to be working in the job if they cannot handle being called on their whatever they're doing. So those are the two things I wanted to say: the garden and calling out status.